If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I absolutely adore the Kingdom Hearts series. It might just be my favorite series of all time next to the Mega Man Zero franchise. It has some of my favorite moments in gaming, some of the best combat I'd ever played in a game franchise, and some of my favorite characters in all of RPGdom. And I am beyond excited for Kingdom Hearts 4. So before the year is up, I wanted to make one more video about Kingdom Hearts, and the topic for this one is about the 10 things I'm hoping to see in Kingdom Hearts 4. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer to 150, and I think we can do it by the end of the year. With that shameless plug out of the way, let's get started. So, starting off this list is something that was probably my biggest gripe with all of Kingdom Hearts 3, and that was just how poorly balanced the difficulty options were in this one. And I don't mean in the nature of, oh god, this was too hard. Rather, the opposite of this. The Kingdom Hearts games as a whole have usually been pretty good with how they've handled their difficulty options. Each one naturally feels like you're scaling up the challenge. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, every single option just kind of felt like a slightly more difficult easy mode. The game never really pushes you for any demanding combat or boss fight, no matter what difficulty you have it on, until, they released a critical mode update. We had to wait until an update to get a genuinely challenging mode in this game, and that's not really something that should be in any game, in all honesty. Here's hoping that Kingdom Hearts 4 not only lets us have the critical mode from the very start, but does a better job at balancing all the difficulty options. When Kingdom Hearts 3 first ever dropped, it added a lot of new ideas to the combat. From the Keyblades each having their own sort of pseudo-drive form, to the attractions that resembled the Disney rides of their, selected parks, and finally was the ability to equip multiple Keyblades, which is the one I wanted to focus on at the moment, and the one I'm hoping they bring to the next game. The idea of being able to equip and swap through multiple Keyblades during combat was a stroke of goddamn genius. The action of swapping between them to chain together both longer combos and the various special forms to deal out massive amounts of combo damage made for some of the most enjoyable combat the series has ever produced. The only downside was that you could only equip 3 at a time. Here's hoping that 4 improves on this any way they can, maybe by letting us equip 4 instead, or even allow us to equip dual Keyblades for one of the slots. It would certainly be awesome to see the return of that outside of drive forms. Hell, maybe they could let us equip Keyblades that let us throw it like Kratos' axe in God of War Ragnarok. The possibilities are technically endless with the combat system they have, so I'm really excited to see what they do for 4. The concept of playing as multiple characters in a Kingdom Hearts game is nothing really new to the series. It first ever happened in Chain of Memories when you could unlock Riku for his own story, and this continued on in pretty much every game after it. It was always such a highlight of the games to take on the focus of a different character and battle out with the enemies to see how they fought with their different combos for a fun change of pace. And I'm really hoping 4 keeps that concept and rolls with it even harder, not only letting us play as characters we've now gotten to play as, like Riku, Kairi, Aqua, Ventus, and the other Keyblade 7, but with the Lost Master seeming to be the focus of the next installment, I'm hoping we may get a chance to play as Ava, considering she wasn't, with the other 4 at the end of 3. Or maybe they will go even crazier and let us play as Yozora in the coming battles. It may seem crazy, but I'd totally be down with the type of combat that Yozora, Ava, or any of the other characters they decide to let us play as could bring to the table. I really do hope this one happens, more than probably even the difficulty thing, if I'm being honest. So, JRPGs and secret bosses are just one of those things that feel like it's meant to go hand in hand, right? Well, it seems like a lot of the recent Kingdom Hearts games don't really agree with that kind of sentiment. Not to say there haven't been some you can unlock, examples being Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2, Julius in Dream Drop Distance, and the weird Heartless boss in Kingdom Hearts 3. But it really just feels like nowadays they're just doing kind of the bare bones amount of work with them. Especially when you line it up with the original Kingdom Hearts, which had several secret bosses. If I remember correctly, there were like 6 to be exact. That was crazy! But for Kingdom Hearts 2, you had to wait till the final mix version to get a lot of the secret bosses in them. And 3 kinda does this, but you gotta buy the Remind DLC. I'm hoping in 4 they decide to bring in more than just 1 or 2 secret bosses. Maybe in 4 they could utilize what they did do in Dream Drop Distance and use more older Disney villains. Like maybe a boss fight with Oswald of all people. Maybe fight a new version of Chernobog. Maybe a secret Yen Sid boss. Or maybe they could bring back Sephiroth for another round with Sora. Speaking of Sephiroth, that actually brings me to my next point. So, I think it's pretty safe to say that the inclusion of Square Enix characters in recent Kingdom Hearts games have been pretty disappointing, to say the least. Dream Drop Distance gave us the World Ends With You characters for a pretty awesome change of pace from the regular Final Fantasy cast. But when 3 came out, it just seemed to ditch the character inclusions entirely. All we got were some Easter eggs of enemies from the games that, while charming, felt pretty hollow in comparison to actually interacting with the cast from the Final Fantasy games. You don't even see them in the story until you get the Remind DLC, which is kind of ridiculous considering how important to the plot they were, how integral they were to Sora's story as a whole. I'm hoping in 4, Sora gets to meet up with the old Hollow Bastion cast and hang out with them once more. And if not, they could just have him meet several of the newer Final Fantasy cast members. We still haven't seen him interact with Noctis or Lightning. Hell, he could go with Jack to go kill Chaos. They could even throw Clive from 16 in for funsies. We're giving you ideas, Square. You should use them. I think we can all agree that one of the biggest claims to fame for Kingdom Hearts was the incredible feeling of going through a Disney movie's world and exploring it with Sora and friends. And I personally believe that it's time we used TV shows for levels in Kingdom Hearts 4. While traveling through the worlds of movies like Luca, Soul, or Encanto would be a ton of fun, it would be really nice to get representation for shows since so many would just work perfectly in the world of Kingdom Hearts. For example, why not have Sora team up with Scrooge or Darkwing Duck in the DuckTales universe? Or battle it out with King Andrias in the core with Anne and Amphibia? Or fight King Bellos with Luce in Owl House? With so many shows at Disney's disposal, they could technically make several games out of them. Also, if for some reason you're curious why I only use the newer shows and not something like Gargoyles, for example, a show that I also believe could work with the whole Kingdom Hearts story, it's simply just because I watched all 3 recently and I liked all of them. Go check them out if you have the time, they're very well made shows. Highly recommend. So, am I the only one that was kind of weirded out that even though we went to Olympus in Kingdom Hearts 3, we never got to participate in a single tournament at all? I guess that they wanted to focus more on the story in 3, and I get that, but it still seems strange that they never offered it even as like a side thing to check out. The tournaments were always such a great test of skill in the games as they challenged you to push past several waves of opponents. And in 2, they added on to them with the idea to have tournaments place restrictions on you, forcing you to really use everything in your arsenal to really beat the tournament. Which could, I guess, be either good or bad, depending on your viewpoint there. Here's to hoping that Kingdom Hearts 4 will let you have both kinds of tournaments. One side where you fight waves of enemies for experience points, and the other sets will let you have restrictions placed on you in order to obtain rare items. Hell, either or works. I just want tournaments back. I'm a junkie. I will take anything for a chance to fight. Give me. So, I think I speak for many Kingdom Hearts fans when I say this with as much respect, love, and kindness as possible. Why, in the absolute fuck, can we still not customize our characters with alternate outfits or accessories yet? We were able to do this in Fragmentary Passage, and it didn't show up in 3 at all. What the actual hell? Sorry about that. But, all ranting aside, It was incredibly disappointing that Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't have the custom accessories option that Fragmentary Passage introduced. It's still such a weird concept that they gave us that in Fragmentary and just, didn't roll with it in 3. Maybe they thought Sora with cat ears wouldn't be all that cute in comparison to putting them on Aqua? Who knows? Square is very finicky about that. Or maybe it was Disney who said no to that, I don't know. Let's hope in 4 they don't really have that kind of restriction placed on them, if there ever was one. Again, not sure. Maybe they just added it because Fragmentary was short. It would be really cool to let Sora run around in all the outfits he gets from all the other worlds. It would be a genuine treat to just have fun with. Yeah, I know. I get this kind of sounds like the Square Enix inclusions thing from number 6. But I want to explain why I think it should be separate. You see, I personally believe some of the best aspects of Kingdom Hearts as a whole is when the Disney characters get directly involved with the main plot of the franchise itself. Not just like traveling through the world, like when they actively, interact with the villains of the franchise. It started in 2 with sections like Belle being used as a hostage by Zaldin to make Beast choose between her or the flower, or seeing Jack Sparrow talk with fucking Luxord, which was still funny as hell. Or watching older Pete from Timeless River get into a fist fight with the Kingdom Hearts version of Pete and get his ass kicked. And I personally believe it was at its best in 3. Like the moment when Sully throws Vanitas through door after door. Or my personal favorite, Woody telling young Xehanort nobody loves him. Still crazy that happened. Still a highlight of the game too. It's absolutely amazing to see stuff like this in some of the best moments in the franchise. I'm really hoping moments like these are expanded upon in 4. So, for the final thing on this list, I'm just going to lay it out right here. I'm just going to be as straight with y'all as possible. I want minigames in the next Kingdom Hearts game. And no, I'm not only just talking about the cute little Game & Watch things you could play around with in 3 or those cooking sections they added. I want the kind of shit we got from Birth by Sleep. I'm talking about the goofy-ass volleyball game, the crazy racing Mario Kart ripoff thing, and even the ice cream stacking game. Why? Because that shit is fun as hell. I think a game is able to draw its full potential when it gives you more to do outside of things like story and combat and collectibles, as it shows a level of love you don't really see in some games. I know this is probably just my dumb Yakuza brain talking, with how many minigames it gives you and how fun that is, but I just think it's amazing to have this kind of side stuff in games. It really helps the game feel more alive, and the world a lot more fleshed out than just a bunch of areas you run through. I'm really hoping 4 has this probably almost as much as the difficulty thing, but this is more a personal thing. Please let us have these minigames in 4, Square. Please! And with that done, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the content, make sure to leave a like and a sub. I really appreciate it if you did. And thank you so much for watching to the end of the vid once more. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you for the next vid.